Narrative that, of course, was the focus for a little while there was financial instability. Then the narrative switched over to the economy getting weak and the jobs market getting weaker. What did we find out today that brought this market down a little bit? Let's talk about it at the close. Like always, hit the thumbs up. Let's get the show started.
All right, it is time for pre-market prep at the close.
3 consecutive highs, opened, matched yesterday's low, and then once it took out there, that's all the breakout momentum traders needed.
Well, let's bring on my man, Joel Elconin. What's going on? How we doing, Joel?
Who just kicked over a glass. That's what you heard me.
There you go. Bullish.
All right, let's get to the charts here. We're traded in the red. Let me adjust my charts here and take a look. Mitch and I were discussing how, some bad economic data came out, but we were kind of heading that way off the open. Here's the fluff in the pre-market trading. 39.28 was the high. We had marked September 20th and September 22nd highs just above that. But we stalled out early, and then at 9:45, they started giving us some worse than expected or better than expected economic data, and that got the bears going, and they got it in control. We're in an area of very limited daily support. Took out yesterday's low, and then you can see we take a 52.5 and we're getting a bounce, but not a level that I would have chosen out of the clear blue sky. So and now we are tailing off back towards the lows of the session. The dollar's all over the place. Put in a double bottom this morning and then took out yesterday's high, just down a few pennies. TLT ahead of the Fed meeting tomorrow, up 44 cents at 96.55. Crude got close to 90 once again, but backed off, up a buck 74, 88.27. Both gold and silver, they were up, they were higher this morning. They've backed off, still green on the session. Gold up 970 at 16.50.40. Silver, we got into the 20 handle, but now we're only up 54 cents at 19.65. Bitcoin up $100, 20,480, and Ethereum futures, they're up just a smidget at up $15 at 15.81.
So, of course, today you'll be hearing of the narrative that the jobs opening data for September showed a resilient labor market. Has it even changed?
No.
What are you guys looking at? Oh man, it baffles me that there's so many money managers, fund managers, economists out there saying that we're pivoting because of a weaker economy and a weaker jobs market. When even just today, we get another data reading, and what does it show? A resilient job market. So those people that are in the camp that expect the Fed to change tune, please on earth, speak some sense into me, because it seems like all sense points to the opposite direction.
But yeah, I mean, I told you I had a discussion earlier this morning when I was on Stocks and Jocks, and the rally was predicated on the only going up a half. You don't come this far and take this kind of stance and start backing off now, especially when the data is really not supporting the CPI. Now we're going to have our boy Blue on Friday. He'll be on during that jobs number, which is not nearly as important as the CPI number. That's coming out next Thursday. So we're going to have my boy Blue on the next 2 Fridays. So mark that on your calendar. But it just doesn't make any sense to think the Fed. Like I said, I think the best thing that you can expect to hear out of the Fed tomorrow is we're going 3/4. We may go a half. at the next meeting, but I don't even think they're going to say that. I think the reason for the rally was more, the rotation out of tech, and instead of 5 stocks, they're actually buying other stocks. But you know what? They're still rotating out of tech, Mitch.
Yeah, that they are. And I had a guest today that I felt said it right. Fred Hubler, CEO and Chief Wealth Strategist at Creative Capital Wealth Management, said, we need to break unemployment first. Then we can break inflation. I think that's what needs to happen. I'll tell you what, if Amazon keeps going in the way it's going, the demand destruction is starting to show, right? And so if these big boys keep coming down the way they're doing, I think we'll start seeing some job layoffs, right? I mean, that's the truth. And so we're going to keep watch to see what happens in some of these big stocks. Amazon down from the open 7.37%. It's not many times that I thought Amazon would be back below 100, and here we are.
Well below 100. Step down seller. I mean, someone was just like, I don't know if it was just a short-term trade where they picked it up on the earnings day, Friday and Monday, but I mean, there was a big order sitting on the desk saying, "Get me out, step down seller." You didn't have a higher high until like the guy or gal probably went to lunch. Just got tired of selling Amazon all day, and so you did have a higher high. We are moving in. And I say this when I go to the monthlies and I say, "Hey, where's the next level?" That's what you got to look at in this 94.46. That was your low back in April of 2020. That's a month after the pandemic. I mean, these stocks, and I don't know, can't remember who I was talking about it with. These stocks had already, the tech stocks, right, had already had like what their 7, 8 year run heading into COVID. And then it was all of a sudden like everyone needed tech and tech was it. And then that kind of, maybe those stocks would have started to come off a little bit earlier, but Amazon, everyone, their brother, sister, aunt, and uncle ordering on Amazon here. So, Mitch, you pointed out, that the open to close, situation, and there you go, leaning on your double tops, or well, now it's a double top, but leaning on your previous day's highs, that would have maybe saved you some trouble. 0487 yesterday, got 458 today, and took out that low at 97.66. Not off the low. Current low is 96.06. Amazon in trouble. And what about all the analysts that have buy ratings on this stock? They're gonna have to come in and start
Yeah,
trimming
tomorrow.
those targets.
You know it. You know how they love to chase that price action. There was one analyst, though, today that took a shot, and I feel like they didn't do too bad here, and that was on the call for Carvana turnaround. I'm not in that camp, but not a bad call today by JPM Morgan upgrading Carvana to neutral and announcing a 20 price tag. I definitely got some spike here in the pre-market, continued in the market, but also pulled back closer towards that 15 support. Carvana, I was talking about on my show, Joel, that used car vehicles are around 10% interest rates, new cars at 6%. Is that going to be good news for Carvana?
Holy mackerel. 1351 this got to on Friday. That made that a double bottom, 1361 the previous day. Holy mackerel. Look at that. And just stuck over $16 today. 1584 was your 3-day high. You nicked that. So it's going to take some follow through to get that back over 16. Really backed off 80 cents off that intraday high. So 1 day bump, and there you go. We'll see. I mean, if you think JP Morgan's onto something here, you had what, a $2.50 move, right? So $1.25, that 1475 area got to 1494. So see if it can hold into 1475, $15.
All right, let's go to some of our earning stocks today. Eli Lilly, maybe? I did see that catch a little bit of that shadow zone I was looking at on the daily chart, and it filled it.
I'm sorry, Mitch. I was looking. I was looking at the chat there. What stock was that?
Not a worry. Eli Lilly.
Lilly. Yeah, this one. I mean, they lowered guidance. It's had a big run. You did gap filled more than not. Those gaps are filled. How much did it do it by?
Did
You
it
had your
pretty.
high on this day. Was it close? Yeah, 42.43. So you probably weren't too happy when it went to 40.75. But now getting the bounce. I love these kind of moves where you get a rebound. And this is where I think your 50% retracement comes in. We've had about a 13-point move, so 6.5. You're over that, right? Or more than that. 364. No, I'm sorry. That's a 25-point move, so 12.5. You get back. This is an important area. 52.5, 353. If the Bulls are going to win the day in this one, it's just going to snap right back up to that old-time closing high from yesterday. I'll be focusing very closely here. Let's say we close right at this area. That's a little bit of a bounce. Sellers probably let up a bit. So good luck, good number to for Lilly tomorrow. That 50% retracement. Pfizer got silly town in the pre-market. We did not think it would hit that pre-market high. We also talked about perhaps coming down and kissing the top of yesterday's range. Well, I couldn't get much closer than that, folks. 47.39 was the top of the range from yesterday. I'm not the only one that could read a gap fill. You came down to 47.40, and now it's nice getting a little bit of a rebound. But you're buying Pfizer up $1.50, $2 in the pre-market. You got to go ahead and you got to look at what the average daily range in these things is and the volume it takes to move it. So a little overdone. I'll consider it a gap fill. We'll see. We're gonna 48. When you get a day like this after a big sell off, you've had a big move up from 42. Let's see if the orders stack up at 48 tomorrow.
All right, one that had a push at the open, hasn't really come back since then, is Uber, but not a bad day there, at least for Uber overall.
Yeah, it was sneaky. It got over 30 and it got into that 31 handle. That did fill a gap too. Nothing really specific at 31. Where did it close at this day? Um, the day at 31.68, closed at 30.47. That's a big move, 23 to 31, since October 11th. Like I said, I'd be more inclined to see if this can come back under 28 and fill the gap. Big volume today. I saw Lyft, got a Lyft too with this, but that's fading as well. I think they report tomorrow, right? Or they report pretty closely after Uber does.
All right, taking a look here, and I do see Jay talking about kind of growth and value. It looks like that trade right now, you're starting to see at least some value names start pulling back at least a little bit. Now, are they completely turning around? No, that's not also what I'm saying here, but definitely you can see it in a stock like Walmart. You can see there it's had a couple of runs in the last couple of days, and today it starts slowing down the momentum. Now we got to keep watch to see if any other rotation takes control.
That 143 area. Now you hit 142.90 on Friday. You pierced it yesterday going to 43.07. Did some heavy lifting today, got to 43.55, but now you're backing off. Hanging out near yesterday's low. This chart does look a little tired, of course, market dependent. But I think, you don't hold this 141.50 tomorrow. Easily get a look at the 140 area. There were 3 lows in that area from last week. Volume is kind of tapering off too. Traded 7.5 million yesterday. So I think on this I think you're just kind of running out of buyers up here, and the sellers before just get lifted on those offers going up. are now starting to hit bids. I see someone mentioning that SoFi. If you were keying on your, we didn't get to cover that today.
I
But if
did. I
you
did at the very end, though. I got
you
you, Joel.
did,
I got you.
look, okay, okay, we should have covered that one because it was flirting with the pre-market. It was flirting with that 650 area. We really didn't have anything there, but that's one of those trades where the sellers came in right off that first opening bar. I bet you it was even less than just a little bit here, but when it couldn't take out that pre-market high, coming down. Are we filling the gap in this one? Yeah, another gap fill here. But we're only 3 cents away from it. 567, the high from yesterday. Current low, 567.
One I should have took a shot on, and maybe you know how it is. Sometimes you talk something up more than taking it. The Sony trade, not a bad move there today on
Did it
Sony.
keep going?
It just kept going and going, and going and going. Wasn't a bad move today at all.
You know what, Mitch, if you're going to take shots on those things, take them off the open.
Right? That's
Yeah,
exactly where it should have been
yeah.
taken. I agree.
I mean, I
You
wouldn't have
know,
bought it off the open, but
yeah, it was a little bit too far though. But I mean, I think this is one of those things that you keep in mind, right? Now we're starting to see maybe some consumer electronic stocks. Sony, kind of the first major one here, getting a kind of more report. Apple, of course, we've already heard about their iPhone issues. We won't talk about that. But maybe this starts getting some other stocks moving. And so I'm keeping my eye on different names to see if they're going to start moving. Maybe an iRobot Corporation, a name that we haven't talked about forever, now owned by Amazon. Well, that starts seeing a lift or any kind of mention. It's something to keep in mind. Consumer electronics. It seems like Sony having a good day. Will the other ones give us the same, or will there be concern that they can't meet the sales that they need for the holidays? All right, let's move forward. Looks like someone wanted to take a look at some of the banks, so that's not too bad.
yeah,
Let's go
yeah.
there.
That's now they must have been listening on our chat beforehand.
We got a
Uh,
good chat. They're on top of it, Joel. They're on top
this
of it.
J.P. Morgan, now this is performing just like a champ here. No, really, much different move than the rest of the banks. What I think you need to be keen on for J.P. Morgan here, boom, 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 is 2 monthly highs, 133. Can we get to 133 on this one? That was your May and June highs. I mean, anything can happen. Of course, you're going to have some Fed tomorrow, but man, it had the earnings day, right? Boom, and then it had the gap. Extremely strong stock. I don't know when the trial. I'll say right now. I'll just wait. I'll wait to see if we can get up to 133. The double top on the monthlies. But we'll see. I mean, we haven't been at 129 in a while. We haven't been at 130 in a while. So let's see if the paper starts to stack up in the New York book and some of these whole numbers here. Bank of America did show some promise today, but just couldn't hold in there. There just wasn't that sustained buying. But I think still the trend is your friend. It looked like you broke out of the 3-day consolidation area. Now you came back in, you filled the gap. I think what we'll do here, we're up 18 cents. So you're going to get if all things stay the same, you're going to get a double close, triple close area here in the lower 36 handles. So as long as it stays above the 36 here, I think you got to keep leaning to the long side in Bank of America. Volume, it's probably going to be about the same as yesterday. But certainly not performing like the Wells Fargo today. I did check Citigroup's trying to break out. Did have the 4-day consolidation, breaking out of the top of the range. I don't know, Citigroup, you know, starting that new candle, the right way at the high for the month. So we'll see. We'll see. Like a lot to Fed tomorrow, right? What's the Fed going to do? It's going to
Yep.
shake up this market, send us back down near the lows of the move, or is everyone going to get the pivot that they wanted?
We will wait and see, right? What will we get from Jerome
I'm a Fed
Powell?
watcher.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun meeting tomorrow. Definitely 2 p.m. You get the release of the conference, right? And then of course at 2:30, you get the actual fireworks, the interview, and that's where we get the fun stuff, especially on the Q&As, as they will take their shot at Jerome Powell to see if they can get him to maybe give a little bit of some tune in which way they're pointing towards, especially into December, right? I don't think there's too much talk on this FOMC meeting about 75 basis points, but the next one. And of course, what will we get next week? We'll get another CPI reading. Why not just focus on that? Why not look forward into the next month? Let's just look into next week. And then as we start getting more and more data, that's what needs to change. If you see inflation change, I'm all for it. I'm all for the bull camp.
Friday.
Jobs number, right? Jobs number, so important, right? That can turn things around. Also, could iterate what Powell says tomorrow. So keep in mind, this market's going to keep swinging. And just because you've been seeing that bottom hold for now, never says that we can't go back down. And it also doesn't say that we can't go towards that 50% full retracement that Joel was calling out this morning of 410. It's still into play. And the volatility out there is definitely creating a crazy range that we could be starting next week, right?
I'll tell you, I wouldn't say nervous is the word, but you had, after you came down hard off that CPI August reading, you had just like a little, like we're going to catch a breath. We're going to catch a breath here. And then 3 highs in the same area. I know they're not exactly showing up on your charts, but man, you hit that 3 days in a row. That's when the bottom fell out. That's when you went to 3,500, and you've kind of zigzagged your way back up there. But I will put up the caution flags here. I mean, I was trying to stay bullish through all this chop here and here, but man, I don't know, move a little bit neutral and depending on the Fed tomorrow. Just get prepared for a 150-point range. I mean, that just seems like we've had on all these Fed numbers. So seeing some buy imbalances here. First 400 million to the buy side, and then 270 billion to the buy side. But what's your obstacle here in the S&Ps? Even though we've traded through it quite a bit. You have yesterday's low coming in at 72 and a quarter. That's been your highest low so far of this entire rebound. So if you're looking for another leg higher, maybe to get back towards unchanged, got to establish a bid over Monday's low at 72 and a quarter. And looks right now we're currently trading 38.71.
Shout out to Sharif in the chat, giving us a $20 super sticker there.
Sharif.
Appreciate that. And if you have a stock
Happy Meal
or something that you want us to check out, make sure you throw it up. Also, we're definitely here for you. Let's make sure that we cover certain stocks that are coming into their earnings tonight. Definitely going to be another one to keep watch. Of course, everyone's going to be watching to see what happens to AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. What are we going to get? We've already kind of got a pre-warning into this earnings. Will it be worse? And they even gave us tune to. So I think that's what we need to watch right now. AMD has been hanging on, but I remember when everyone was talking about this stock, when it was at 100, it looks like it's at 60 now. Looks like it did a stock split.
2 for 1. Yeah, it was even, at the end of last year, it was up near the 100 and traded over 160. I like this technical setup in this one for a couple different reasons. I have easy identifiable resistance here. Last week's high, 62.72. Came down from that high on Friday, even though we had a strong market day. Sellers stepping down to 62 into the last few sessions. So I'll call it 62 and a quarter between all those numbers. If you get a pop, coming back, you went from 55 to 63. We'll call that an 8-point move where I went to school. $59, a must hold level, 58.92. Was your low on Friday. So let's hold, if this is the pullback to buy, which right now is not looking so much like that, let's see it hold 59 and take out that 62 and a quarter level on the upside.
Yeah, it's not good when you're we don't talk about this too often, but when your 200-day is about 36% away, and that's just the defining factor between bull or bear, it's not a good sign. It's 36% away. And even the 50 moving average is way far from this. The only thing that's staying close is really short time frames. And what are they showing you? Bear, 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 bear. And right now in the daily, that's a bear flag there. We'll see if we get the breakdown towards the 55, or will we stay above maybe 62? That could show a little bit of a turnaround. We'll see what happens. Other earning stocks tonight. You got AMD, you got Airbnb. What's up with the Airbnb?
Airbnb got shellacked yesterday. Someone just saying, "Get me out ahead of the report." Getting some of those losses back today. Nothing like the losses that it had yesterday. Working on an inside day. Now I know I've been talking about the cruise lines and the reopening trade. I'm not going to Airbnb here. Still struggling since it hit that 120 area. It did establish. I'm looking at the June low, so it did have made a higher low off that June low. But I'd be pivoting on this 110. Yeah, you took it out yesterday, but establish a bid over 110. Maybe you get a chance to take out yesterday. Ooh, those highs are pretty close to each other. 1310 and 1380. So on a pop, we're keeping an eye on, let's see, 70, 30. Let's call it 113.50. On the downside, if you do can't hold that 110, 108 is the low in today's session. 2-day low, 106.67. I think you just had a really impatient seller in there yesterday that wanted to get ahead of the report. So don't know what they're going to do, but as far definitely not, it's decoupled itself from the airlines. Let's see how old my buddy old Delta's doing today. Delta, yep, sellers stepping down from 35. How's his NCLH? Is that thing still up? Down 7 cents today. That's the first big red candle we've had in a long time. So if you're sitting on profits on this one, we're trading right near the lows of the session. Looking a little tired here for NCLH.
Yeah, I could say that about a bunch of stocks. I feel the same way for Airbnb also. But we'll see what happens with Airbnb. Of course, a lot of people took shots on Airbnbs during the pandemic, and a lot of people are starting to come to the realization that they might have overpaid for those properties. That's also something to keep in mind with Airbnb. And of course, as we see interest rates rise, will some of those kind of investments start turning around to where they're not making money? And then, of course, like most investors, they would want out, right? Well, can you really get out right now in this type of market? It's going to start being tough if you want out in real estate. We'll see what happens there. We'll see what happens at the bell. We're almost there. 2 minutes, team. And one more stock that we'll be looking
gold,
at.
let's just take a, we'll just get a couple
gold
on the gold futures.
Gold. I love
I'm
gold.
just, you want to see it. I mean, you got something to lean on there at 1634, pair of lows there. So, and that's above your late October low, backing off from the high. So the other thing I could give you to lean on would be that 1634 on the downside. And then I don't know. I just don't have a great feel for this chart. I'll give you 3-star resistance, split the 3 and 4 day highs, 1670, 90, 1674, 80. Look like you tried to get there today, but hit a roadblock at 1660, 30. So that's a look at the gold market.
We'll have to see what happens here. And what will we get tomorrow? Like always, it's going to be a turnaround type of market. And tomorrow, what do we get? Of course, finally, it will be pumping power, dumping power. I'll tell you that much. By the end of the day, that's how they call it. The only question will be, Will the media have gotten it right? Because it seems like the media is leaning on that kind of upside move. I just don't know. The only thing I know is that we haven't turned too much in the data. VLO is one that I'll talk about to wrap up the day with. It was
Sure.
Valero Energy. Why is this one moving a little bit higher? Well, yesterday I talked about that. I thought this one could get a lift because of diesel prices rising, right? Diesel prices have been rising dramatically and expected to keep rising in the next couple of weeks as you see in Valero start taking a leg up.
I'm looking at this 130 area, and let's just go to the monthlies here. It's had a nice run. 130, 193. That was the high from October. 130.83 so far in November. Nothing really there on any other monthlies, but would I be waiting for this one? Can you get up to that 132 area, break out, and pretty wide open on the upside after that? It looks like our closing print couldn't get much. Couldn't yesterday's low posed a little resistance here into the close. Buying balances, that making a big deal. We're lower on the session, 2 down days in a row. We'll see which way Fed sends us tomorrow. Great job, Mitch. And tomorrow we'll have Todd Gordon on from New Edge Capital. He'll be on, and he'll be giving us his great insights into the market. Everyone, have a good night. Back with you tomorrow morning.
We'll see you tomorrow, team. Like always, you guys can keep up right here on Benzinga to stay up with all the cannabis insider action. It looks like we have cannabis coming up next, so come check out what is going on in the cannabis space. Looks like, of course, Chuck Schumer has been speaking about the expungement and what could be coming for some banking in cannabis. Come find out from the Cannabis Insider team. And I'll see you tomorrow on PreMarket Prep. Like always, team, hit the thumbs up and don't miss later today. We got the AMD earnings call. I will be there listening to AMD's earnings call. The question is, will you? I'll see you in a little bit, team. Hit the thumbs up on your way out.